Hi, today I would like to show you the Arturia KeyStep. This is kind of a special video for me because there are many amazing Arturia products that you can buy for crazily small amounts of money these days. But I would go so far as to say that the KeyStep is actually my favorite thing that they have done so far. So on the face of it, the KeyStep just looks like a keyboard. And it is. It's a little keyboard with slim keys, it has velocity and aftertouch. However, inside this thing is a little brain containing both a sequencer and an arpeggiator. And the thing that is so insanely brilliant about this thing is that sequencer and how it is implemented. Because this thing isn't like other sequencers that I've tried. It's both polyphonic, so it's 64 steps, and you can play polyphonic chords of up to 8 notes per step. But the main thing is it's got this interactive nature to it. You can interact with the sequencer in real time while it runs and just experiment with melodies and ideas while you are synchronizing it to a computer, to MIDI gear, or to analog gear as well. It will sync to basically anything, and that's what we're going to explore. So I've got my Juno 60, my DX7, a DrumBrute H3000, and an Elektron Analog Heat, and I want to show you how this thing works. Firstly though, here's one I made earlier. So this is running right now on the KeyStep. It's playing MIDI into my DX7, and that's being affected by the H3000. And I just built that up note by note. And you can stop it. So I have my DX7 connected like this. And then the idea with this is, yes, you can play it. Sweet. But what if I want to sequence it, this whole sequencing beauty of the KeyStep? Well, the way that this works, I will turn the effects down a little bit. If I hit record and I've got the sequencer switched up like this, all I have to do is put notes in very much like a 101 or the way that the MicroBrute works. And I can change the rate, and there's a time division. The rate is just the master clock, and the time division is like doubling or halving the time, or putting in triplets. But this is the beauty of the machine. So it's running like this, and it's just playing its melody, just like the MicroBrute would do, or an SH101. But if you have this light lit, you can just interact. So that note overrode what was in the sequence at that point. So instinctually, you then put in notes and you evolve the sequence. Nice. But we can also enter rests. You do this by pushing the rest and tie button. So now I just inserted a gap into the sequence. Pretty awesome. And then we can transpose the sequence. As long as the record light isn't lit. Oh. 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 Nice. Oh. That's so nice. So you see what I mean? Super interactive, and I just evolved that bit by bit. I changed it, I felt it out, I overrode notes as I was working, and I just built the sequence up, kind of layer by layer, but you're overwriting things. The other thing that you can do, there's some very clever ways to edit the sequence. For example, what I can do is I can clear the last step. What that's doing is it's killing the last note. Till my sequence becomes shorter. And if I lit this light up and I put notes in, my sequence is still only a few beats long now. I've shortened it down. But there is a very clever thing you can do. If you hold Shift and record, then it goes into append mode. Now, notes that I play will get appended onto the end of the sequence. Not sure about that. Shift, clear last. And then I just delete that. That works. Delete the clear last, add another note. Yeah. Delete it. Better. So did you see that I was adding a note onto the end of the sequence? You're deaf when you play it, you don't hear it, but it gets played as part of the sequence, and you can remove that last note. And you can also add in rest. So then you can build it up. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. We need like this falling. Oh, that's really nice. Whoop. That would be the pitch wheel. There's like a pitch strip. Super beautiful. I mean, come on. That's so inspiring. I can't get over how brilliant that is as a concept. And it's the kind of thing that on paper, you just won't get it. You have to just play around with this thing. And then there's a kind of eureka moment where you're like, oh my God, nothing else I have works quite in this way, because you can really interactively build up a sequence, overwrite elements, append clear, and just kind of feel it out. The other thing is when you've got it synchronized to other gear and there's other melodies happening, it becomes really nice the way that you automatically don't create 16-step, 8-step, 4-step melodies. You end up making melodies with like 7 or 9 or 12 or 14 steps within that sequence. sequence. And so it then phases in really interesting ways. And of course, the best thing you can do is have another key step so that you've got another element which can play along at different lengths, or indeed another BeatStep Pro, or a BeatStep Pro as well, because the BeatStep Pro can have sequences of different lengths, it can have drums of different lengths, so you can take that whole phasing concept together. I think that the KeyStep is just the best possible expander for a BeatStep Pro, because it then gives you this one extra polyphonic voice that you can use to build up your sequences even further. Okay, so there is another amazing feature about this thing I would like to point out, which is chord mode. And if you ever actually met me and I've talked to you about the KeyStep, I will probably have mentioned to you who suggested to Arturia they put the chord mode in. It was me. To get it to work, you hold Shift and Chord, and while you're holding it, you push the intervals that you want it to remember. So now when I let go, chord mode is active and it's going to remember those intervals that I baked. So it plays that chord I just played, or but what if we sequence with the chords? Will it sequence the chords? Yes, it will. Put in some maracas. There's actually another thing I can do here. If I hold Shift and then this octave up, it engages keyboard play, where instead of transposing the sequence when I play, it will it will overlay temporarily a note as I play it, but without recording it. So that was getting added in. So it's just adding in those notes. I'm just able to play the keyboard live without recording in. So you can jam in something and then improvise over the top of it without recording the improvisation. Running out of voices. Ooh, that's nice. Nice. That's so good. So of course the only thing better than a KeyStep is two KeySteps. So this is my KeyStep here, the black KeyStep, which was a limited edition model, I'm afraid no longer available. But what I wanted to do was link the two things together. So I'm going to link both KeySteps, and then in this instance I'm going to have the Juno 60 being controlled by one KeyStep and this Odyssey module being controlled by the other via analog output, because we didn't really talk about this. The KeyStep has got full-size MIDI DIN inputs and outputs, and it's got analog sync inputs and outputs, which is how I'm going to sync these things. And that, by the way, responds to like the Korg Volca standard. It responds to 1 PPQN, 1 note to advance the clock, and also 24 and 48 PPQN time standards as well. There's a sustain pedal input, and of course there's CV outputs, and there is gate and pitch, and then there's a third output for mod, which basically converts this touch strip into a voltage. So you get a kind of capacitive touch voltage generator with this strip as well. You could feed that into filters, or modulate settings on a modular, whatever you like. But in this instance, let's just plug it into the Odyssey. So rest, 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 rest. Nice. And then of course, you can interact, you can add notes in, we can append notes. So if I hold to shift, append, it's going to then phase because I've added a note onto the sequence. This riff is chords played on this bottom right KeyStep, coming from the DX7, just up here. I mean, that is just my idea of Lego LT Bliss. It's got a slow attack on that sound, but we can add in some H3000. And then, of course, it's just crying out for more elements. So this is the Juno 60. Hit record. Rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest. Yeah. Yeah. So that is a taste of why I am so damned inspired by this keyboard. I hope that it inspires you too, because I really wouldn't want people to miss the beauty of what this offers, that it lets you jam ideas in this really intuitive and inspiring way. I just never fail. Whenever I sit down with this thing, I hook it up to anything, I'll come up with something that's inspiring, and that there's a moment where you just go, oh my God, I need to hit record and start printing this thing. And if you don't have all of this hardware, remember that the KeyStep sends all of its data via USB or MIDI as well. So if you've just got a computer, you can use this sequencing power. And the beauty of running it through the computer is that you can print the MIDI as you go. So I've often had this thing connected to Ableton Live, for example, and just be recording jams and just hitting record on the clip and just printing all of the MIDI that this thing produces while I'm improvising and generating the various ideas. And at the end of it, you end up with little sections where you're like, that is the golden bit. I will loop that section. And then I've built tracks out of those jams. So you can use it outside of this live hardware thing. It's not a requirement to have all of this gear. Get one, maybe two, and jam. Thanks.